Okay, I want to deal with all of these dilemmas as once, like you said, they're related. Basically, they're all of a form to me. Uh, well, they're put in a form that I don't accept. They're put in a form that suddenly you have these godlike powers to decide life and death. I don't believe that. I don't believe that in a million ways. Every example has a different weakness in terms of that. You know, pushing the heavy guy in front of the trolley might not work. Maybe he won't fall right in front of the trolley. Maybe he'll fall off to the side and he'll die and the other 5 people die. You know, I just don't believe we have the right to choose life and death. And what I mean is this. All of these examples are basically, there's 6 people. And if you get to decide which one dies, who do you choose? You can't know that. Unless you want to add things in like 5 of the people are, you know, Nazi war criminals or something. Something extra artificial. Because if you're just counting up people, you can't pretend they're all equal people, that the deaths, you know, are to be counted up like just numbers. You can't really know. Now, therefore, in none of the cases where I have to do heinous crime, like kill another person by pushing them, will I do it. Now, I do have some sympathy for the people that would turn the trolley onto the track where there are fewer victims. I mean, that's like if you woke up in a car that's going through a crowd of people and you start to steer to the outside of the crowd. I mean, you have more of a chance of missing people that way. You know, if there's only one person that has to scramble for cover, even with steep cliff walls, you know, it's more likely one person could find that space than 5 people. So that becomes a different question. I mean, if a computer program were to be written such that in these kinds of situations it detected and tried to go onto the track with the fewest people, it would make sense because we're trying to reduce the harm from a social level, from the level of the rail company that really does count people just all the same as passengers. Okay? So from that frame of reference, it can be defensible to go ahead and make this cold decision of just basically the same as if you're going for a crowd of people, you know, swerve to the edge. You know, maybe you'll miss the whole crowd, or maybe you'll at least go through a thinner part of the crowd and hit fewer people, or those people will have more room to jump into the empty spaces because there is more empty space. But basically, I can't decide life and death for someone else. You set up these situations as though one person can decide that. No. And as far as the first example, where you would take a perfectly healthy person, I mean, this is just a violation of human rights. And the role relativity plays is to tell us why we don't expect to be able to make these kind of calculations. I mean, that's basically what you're proposing there is the utilitarian school of philosophy based on maximizing happiness. It loves to count heads and, you know, 5 happy people, they'll be really happy if their lives were saved. You know, outdo 1 healthy person. But come on, there's a lot more in that circumstance. How did they all get crushed? Were they all drunk driving? Were they all, you know, bungee jumping without a bungee? I mean, it's not equal. Just 5 random people to be saved and 1 person that has to be killed. That's no trade-off. We have to cut off and just reject prima facie times we think we've been forced into making unethical, immoral choices like killing people, intentionally killing particular people. You know, we shouldn't be fooled in. Just prima facie, we should reject those kinds of questions. You know, and especially if we've been fooled into it by a false feeling that suddenly we're controlling people's destiny. No, you know, even if the odds in those examples are set up so that you tell me I'm supposed to assume that I'm certain that the fat guy will stop the trolley if I murder him in front of it. You know, even assuming that kind of thing, I mean, I have to say, well, come on, you know, we never really know that kind of thing. We aren't really in control of the destiny. It's an illusion, and it's very hard to set up real circumstances, but even artificial circumstances should be questioned when they produce this illusion that you are in control of destiny and somehow have this godlike power to decide. You need humility even in that case. So the only one I'd even consider is switching the track onto the track, switching the trolley onto the track with just the 1 person, And in that case, I would do that only on the hope that, well, it's easier to save that one person than to save everybody. You know, so if I'm also going to pull the brakes on the trolley, or he's going to scramble for cover, or any of the ways he can still try to save himself, that you know, that then I make a statistical decision. But pretty much no, I don't think that if there's 6 people, I don't think it's possible. It is not logically possible for me to be in a position to know which one should die. You know, again, assuming innocent people, I mean, if one of these guys is a heinous criminal, then, you know, I think we have a different situation. So I'm talking about from the framework of just, you know, 6 people that, as far as we know, are innocent, decent people.